The fall of Pokrovsk has become more than another shift on the front. It's a turning point that's reshaping the battlefield across Donetsk. What began a month ago as a slow Russian push into the city has now transformed into a complete operational collapse for Ukrainian forces in the area. By early December, Russian troops were not only moving freely through the streets of Pokrovsk, but raising flags on scorched administrative buildings, clearing abandoned blocks and documenting their presence across the city. And as Pokrovsk fell, another shockwave hit the region: the rapid breakdown of Ukrainian positions in nearby Myrnohrad. Drone footage and field reports now show dozens of Ukrainian soldiers surrendering in groups, partly due to relentless glide bomb strikes, and partly because of a new Russian tactic that's flooding Ukrainian trenches with thousands of surrender leaflets. The simultaneous collapse of two key defensive points raises a single urgent question. Is this the moment Russia gains uncontested momentum across central Donetsk? About a month ago, Russian forces first pushed into the outskirts of Pokrovsk, engaging Ukrainian positions that had been fortified for months. The fighting initially unfolded in narrow streets and dense residential blocks, with both sides relying heavily on drones for reconnaissance and artillery corrections. By late November, Russian officials stated that they controlled roughly 90% of the city, with Ukrainian defenders holding out in only a few remaining districts. The final breakthrough came at the beginning of December, when Russian infantry and engineering units advanced into the last pockets of Ukrainian positions. Soon after, footage began circulating showing Russian soldiers walking beside a Ukrainian administrative building, raising a flag in front of the structure as a symbolic declaration of full control of Pokrovsk. Drone videos uploaded later showed additional Russian troops placing flags on multi-story buildings that had served as elevated firing points during the battle. Another video released by the Russian Ministry of Defense showed troops conducting a full-scale clearing operation. Russian units moved carefully through abandoned streets, entering buildings one by one, searching basements and upper levels to ensure no remaining Ukrainian personnel, no hidden threats, and no unexploded ordnance were left behind. This is a standard urban procedure after major fighting: isolating debris-filled corridors, checking corridors for traps, and confirming that any remaining Ukrainian troops would be located, disarmed, and taken into custody. Pokrovsk is not simply another city in Donetsk Oblast. It sits at the intersection of critical road networks that feed Ukrainian defensive lines deeper into the west. For Ukraine, the city served as a supply hub, a medical evacuation point, and a rear staging area for reinforcements. Its fall represents a major geographic setback, creating a new vulnerability in the central sector of the Donetsk front. From Pokrovsk, Russian forces can advance towards cities such as Ukrainsk and Selidov, expanding their reach toward western Donetsk while disrupting Ukrainian defensive cohesion. Strategically, the loss of Pokrovsk forces Ukraine to reorganize its remaining positions under increased pressure. For Russia, capturing the city provides both symbolic and operational advantages. It confirms momentum on this axis and gives Moscow's forces a forward operating position from which they can project power westward. While Pokrovsk shifted into Russian hands, fights in Myrnohrad intensified dramatically. Over recent weeks, multiple videos surfaced showing Ukrainian troops surrendering to Russian positions around the city. These surrenders were not isolated incidents. They were part of a broader pattern, indicating that Ukrainian defensive lines inside Myrnohrad are collapsing under continuous strikes and the tightening encirclement. Russian forces have been applying pressure from multiple directions, narrowing escape routes and isolating Ukrainian units from supply lines. Additional footage released in early December revealed Ukrainian soldiers withdrawing from certain sectors as Russian glide bomb strikes, barrage drone attacks, and artillery pressure increased. Mynrograd has been subjected to some of the most intense bombardment of this phase of the conflict. Drone footage shows the city heavily damaged, with many buildings partially destroyed or in advanced states of disrepair. Over the past month, Russian aircraft have used large glide bombs, including the FAB-1500 and FAB-3000 to demolish entrenched Ukrainian positions. These munitions, equipped with guidance kits that allow them to glide from long distances, make it extremely difficult for defenders to shelter or respond effectively. With strikes ongoing and Russian units advancing steadily, the situation around Myrnohrad suggests that the city is approaching full isolation and may soon face the same fate as Pokrovsk, unless Ukrainian units can reposition or break the encirclement. One of the most notable developments in the Myrnohrad sector is Russia's deployment of a large-scale leaflet-based psychological pressure campaign. This tactic involves dropping thousands of printed surrender notices over Ukrainian positions, urging troops to lay down their arms and avoid further bombardment. Videos show Russian soldiers loading stacks of leaflets into the casings of multiple launch rocket systems, effectively turning the rockets into delivery mechanisms for the messages rather than explosive warheads. Upon detonation in the air, these rockets disperse the leaflets widely across Ukrainian defensive lines. Another video shows a Russian soldier loading surrender leaflets onto an FPV drone, which then flies over Ukrainian defensive positions and releases the material directly above fortified areas. Days after the leaflet drops, video evidence showed Ukrainian troops emerging with hands raised, some limping due to earlier injuries, others being assisted by fellow soldiers as they move toward Russian positions to be taken into custody. This tactic does not replace conventional warfare but acts as a psychological amplifier. In areas already suffering from heavy strikes and encirclement pressure, leaflet drops create additional psychological weight that may lead to increased numbers of surrenders. It is a technique historically used in other conflicts, but its scale in the current war, combined with modern delivery via drones and MLRS, represents a new adaptation. For Ukraine, the loss of Pokrovsk and the near fall of Myrnohrad weakens its defensive network in central Donetsk. These setbacks reduce supply stability, strain manpower, and expose new vulnerabilities as more units withdraw or surrender under pressure. For Russia, these gains open new avenues for deeper advances. The combination of glide bomb dominance and psychological tactics, especially mass leaflet drops, allows Russian forces to collapse defensive positions with fewer direct assaults, conserving troops for future operations. Until now, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.